Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started with the program. We'd like to welcome you to our special program, Southeast Kansas Flora and Fauna. And we are so excited. First of all, I should say I'm Phyllis Bittner. I'm the chair of Miners Hall Museum Foundation. And we are excited about our newest project, which is the Dragline Park, which will be located down here at 47 and 69 Junction. And within that park, hopefully that move of the actual dragline will be completed this year. It may not be completely preserved and all completed, but we hope to have it on site so everyone will at least have that visual. Everyone's so excited to see it on that corner, so, and we are as well. So, and we know it's going to be a beautiful site for travelers, tourists, people who are traveling the highway will want to pull in and they'll want to learn more about Southeast Kansas. So we know it's going to benefit not only the museum here, but will benefit all the other tourist attractions in Southeast Kansas, all the restaurants, gas stations, hotels. It's going to be a boon for everyone. So we're happy to have been able to bring that project here to the corner. So many of you have already heard this, but part of this project, we thought, gosh, it's going to be a dragline. What are we going to do with that site to really create a beautiful site? And so we started working with the Kansas Wildlife Department, and they are going to assist us in creating a massive wildflower meadow, which will surround 3 sides of the dragline. So people will be able to walk a sidewalk around the drag line, and at the same time on the outside they'll be surrounded by this beautiful wildflower meadow. And we know that's going to be a wonderful educational thing. We'll be able to work with Pitt State on that. That's going to be really a huge draw also to the area. And then Peyton's Potting Shed has offered to build us a butterfly garden as well. So in our entryway parking lot, there's a large area, maybe 10 by 60 feet, and she is volunteering to create it and providing the plants. She'll be creating a butterfly garden in that area. So we're going to have really 2 beautiful spots that will be good for the wildlife and interesting for people who love all of the flora and fauna of the area. So we're excited about all of that. So with that in mind, we thought some of our programs, as you know, we try to do a monthly program associated with our quarterly exhibit, which happens to be the Page 618 Walking Dragline. So we thought that it would be good to bring in some programs that would tell about the wildflower meadow and the butterfly garden and the effect they will have on the wildlife in the area. So Morgan was kind enough to offer her time. She was willing to come and present a program to you, so I'm happy to introduce you to Morgan Leeper. She is the Americorps member at PSU University's Nature Reach program, and she's going to share information about how the native plants are going to be beneficial to wildlife and other things of interest. So Morgan, thank you for coming, and we'll welcome you for the program. Thank you.
How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Good. So, like she said, I'm Morgan Leeper. I was raised in Southeast Kansas. I've been here my whole life. I used to run around in the woods and explore all the plants and wildlife. I loved learning about them, and I'm excited to be here and teach about some of our native flora and fauna. I also have some helpers here today with me. I have Kate and Max. They are students from Nature Reach, from Pittsburg State University. They work at Nature Reach. And I'll get started. So, let's see. What makes Southeast Kansas special? They have a wide range of of grasslands, woodlands, and wetlands. So this helps a diverse population of animals. First, I'll just talk a little bit about what is native versus invasive. So native animals have been here for hundreds and even thousands of years. And while invasive plants have been imported from some other area. A lot of plants and animals have been imported from Europe. And here on this slide we have an ornate box turtle. That is the Kansas state reptile. And then an invasive bug is the sponge moth. And they will kill lots of trees in their caterpillar form because they just eat a lot. And then same thing with plants and flowers. The native plants have been here for a long time versus the invasive plants have been brought here from somewhere else. We'll move on to some grasses. So here's a picture of some of the common grasses you'll find in this area. I won't go in too much detail about them, but I will talk about how they help our native wildlife. So the grassland is great for lots of little critters so they can hide, like little rabbits and birds, like the meadowlarks like to nest in there. Also deer, if you've ever seen a deer bed down in the tall grass, that's how they hide. So the prairie grasses used to span all the way from Canada down to Texas. And now only about 4% of that prairie land still remains. And that's due to a lot of reasons, mostly human development. So we paved roads and built houses on top of them. And the prairie, to keep the prairie grassland, we have to burn it every year. So that helps kill off the invasive species. And it's a lot more economically friendly because it doesn't harm the bugs and animals and their like pesticides and herbicides would. Have a question?
What's the best time of year to burn off a field?
I think they're early spring.
Early
but
spring
I'm
is?
not as sure about that. That's a good question.
Yeah.
March.
March. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk a little bit about some flowers. And you'll see a lot of packages of seeds in stores that say they are wildflowers, but that does not necessarily mean they are native to this area. Here's some native flowers in the area. So milkweed is great. They help the butterflies, the monarch butterflies. That's where they lay their eggs and the caterpillars will eat them. And same thing with us developing so much land. A lot of the milkweed has been paved and made into pasture land. So this is why the monarch butterflies are disappearing, because a lot of their food is not here anymore. Also, when the flowers go into seed, a lot of animals like to eat it, like birds and small mammals love to eat them. And pollinators love flowers. So we have a lot of insects that rely on these plants to get their food and fuel for the winter, and if they don't have them, then they will not survive. Here's a fun fact. Many of you probably know that the honeybees are imported, so they are not native, but they are the Kansas state insect. They are actually considered livestock in a lot of areas because farmers bring them and they'll collect their honey and they use them to help pollinate their fields. Talk a little bit about some shrubs and trees. So, like the other plants, they do provide a lot of shelter for animals. So like owls love to nest in them, woodpeckers, squirrels. It brings a lot of different animals together because animals will eat their fruit and their leaves. The trees will also help cool down the ground. So it's said to be about almost 5 degrees cooler under a shade tree. And here's a really good website that I've got a lot of my information of my from the plants from. So it's kswildflower.org, and this is what their homepage will look like. There's a search bar on the top right where you can type in plants, or you can go through if you've found like a yellow flower and you want to kind of figure out what it is. You can click on the wildflower and then look up the yellow flowers, and it'll tell you more about them. And down here on the bottom left, it tells you that it's been updated recently, so that's also very important, having updated resources. And here is also an example of one of the pages. So it goes into detail about how tall they are, when they flower, a little bit more about the identification, and some cool facts. Now we got some animals here today. If you guys want to come and help, we can take 2 at a time. If you want to take a gray tree frog, would you want to take the toad? So Kate will be carrying the gray tree frog, or no, Kate will be carrying the toad, and Max will be carrying the gray tree frog. And so the gray tree frogs, you may have seen them before. They like to hang out by the windows at night because when you have your lights on, all the bugs are there, and they love to eat all the bugs. And they're called an arboreal creature, so they live in trees, and they have the sticky toe pads so they can climb. And then Kate over here has the Great Plains tree frog, the Great Plains toad. And something cool about the toads is that they have the parotid glands on the back of their neck, and they kind of look like little beans, and that helps them.
Here,
Yeah.
Kate,
When they have something's trying to eat them, they will secrete toxins from their parotid glands. So if you ever seen maybe your dog or a cat eat them and then like spit them out and get foamy, that's because of their parotid glands are secreting toxins. Yeah. So, Kate,
Yes.
do just the males tree frogs?
So male, it depends on the species, but male and female tree frogs sing, but it's going to be the males that you hear calling. And so the males will call to try to attract a female because the males mate with as many females as they can. And so that's what you hear. There's 2 different kinds. We have 2 different kinds that you can hear in this area. Mostly you're going to hear either the gray tree frog, but there's a complex. You'll either hear like a western or an eastern.
This is called a prairie toad.
This is a Cope's gray tree frog complex, technically.
And what's this called? Great Plains?
This is an American toad. We have the Great Plains toads further in western Kansas. You might find them here.
Are these bumps that lands?
Yep, the big behind his eyeball.
I wonder if they had that when they were young.
Toads were little. They're big.
This is the smaller of our 2 toads, actually. This one's actually kind of chunky too. He gets plenty of
And so as they're walking around, you can notice their color. So they have the adaptation of the camouflage to blend in with the bark and the dirt. That way they can hide from their predators.
And then, do you want to see if he'll call?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna see, this is a male. And we're gonna see if this little guy will do a little call for us. So if we gotta be really quiet.
Oh, I heard it.
Yeah. And so if you ever see them calling, they've got the vocal sac underneath their throat. So it gets really big, and these guys, their vocal sac actually looks purple. It looks like a big grape under their throat, and that's where they're pushing out air, and it's amplifying their call so it will go further so they can attract more females. But that is its warning call, like, hey, put me down, don't touch me. He's also vibrating to try to ward me off.
Okay, so next we're going to pull out the ornate box turtle. Like I said earlier, she is the Kansas State reptile. And we will also have the barred tiger salamander, which is the Kansas State amphibian. So if you want to... And so the ornate box turtles, they only have about a mile radius from their home. So they only travel about a mile away from their home. So if you ever see one out in the wild, you'll want to keep it in that same area and not take it too far away, or it'll spend the rest of its life trying to find where home is. If you find them crossing the street, you can help them across the street whichever way they're going. We can tell this one's a female because her eyes are more of an orange color, and the males will have more red on their scales. Now with our salamander, the barred tiger salamander, they have the bright warning colors. So that is another adaptation. They aren't actually toxic, but they do have those warning colors because they don't have really any other defense mechanism.
Now, Kate, don't forget me here.
Okay.
Put her right in front of the camera so I can get a good
Okay,
shot of her.
all right.
Okay?
She
Back
might
a little bit. There
try
you
to
go.
run away from me.
That's an ear. That's an ear.
Thank you.
Both the
barred.
barred tiger salamander and the ornate box turtle are terrestrial creatures, so that means they live more on the land than the water. And so they will bury themselves in the winter to help protect themselves from the cold.
Could you hold him out in front of my camera here, out a few feet? Oh, very nice. Thank you.
Where do you find the salamander?
They're in like forest areas. They're most of the time they're buried in the ground, so it's really hard to just find one.
And they're native around here?
Yeah.
So lately I've been seeing a lot of turtles crossing the highway. If they only stay within a mile radius, why are they crossing the highway?
So there is a lot of like aquatic turtles will still travel to pond, and the box turtles will travel to find mates and to help get out of, like, if it's something where it's going to flood, they'll try to find an area that's not. Yeah. And they'll still stay in like the mile radius, but the road is just in their way. Yeah.
Yes, I want to see it. You might warn people. Did you two want to get?
All right, so The next one we're going to bring out is the black rat snake. She is really friendly. She's about 20 years old, and we'll probably just keep her up here and just show her so you guys.
Good idea.
I'm gonna pass her around.
Does anyone want to pet her? If you want, you can come up here and pet her.
Absolutely.
She's volunteering.
So if you want to pet her, just pet down with the scales like this. I'll keep her up here.
How long did they live? You said she was 20?
Yeah, in captivity they can live up into their 20s, but in the wild, you know, typically they don't get to live that long.
Right.
You want to pet down?
I don't like snakes. It's one of my biggest fears.
Well, you were brave and pet anyways.
She did well.
You can face your fears at any age. Cold, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I mean, there's something live and cold.
Is it cold?
Cold,
Did you want to?
Let's see. Oh my gosh, how pretty the feet are. What do you like, snake boots and stuff?
Yeah, I was thinking boots myself.
So, some.
This lady asked, do they bite?
Well, anything with a mouth could bite. So if you do find them in the wild and you try to pick them up, they will most likely try to bite you. But since she's been handled a lot, she is pretty tame.
But they're not venomous.
No, they are non-venomous.
As someone who has been bitten by a black rat snake that they've picked up in the wild, it doesn't hurt as bad as you would think. I've had paper cuts that have been worse.
Yeah.
They have very small teeth.
Yeah. So they are a really good, beneficial snake to have around. They eat lots of mice and rats, which it's a lot easier to get a disease from a mouse or a rat than it is from a reptile, because we are mammals, and so the diseases spread easily through mammals. They also will eat venomous snakes, so they are really beneficial to have around. They do like to climb trees. You might find them in a tree or in your house.
Can you always get a little pattern on? Or some totally blank?
It depends. So some of them, the bigger they get, they have a little bit more pattern, and there's just a lot of variety. So we had one the other day that was almost reddish on its side. So whenever you go like into Oklahoma, since they have the red dirt, you're gonna get more red patterns, so they blend in. So it just depends on which one you find.
We had one.
I had 3 of them, but I didn't see a pattern on.
They might have been more young too. This one's quite old.
It was about 6, 7 foot long.
Yeah.
But you would have seen a pattern on that.
It just depends. This one I think has developed more of a pattern over the last few years, but it really depends on the species or on the individual.
We had one that climbed a mountain house to get into, to eat the eggs or birds or whatever.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're very good at finding their ways into places.
Keep your eye on the ground.
And the last friend we have today is an American kestrel. They are a bird of prey. We feed him little mice and Dale chicks. We have to gut the mice. It's not the prettiest picture. But he was raised as a chick, so he imprinted on humans. That is why we have him, because he cannot live by himself in the wild. He would not be able to catch his own food because he's always been fed by people. We have 6 birds of prey at nature each, and they all have some kind of problem that keeps them from being able to live in the wild by themselves. So we can tell this is a male because he has the blue feathers on his wings. The females will have more of the brown feathers on their wings. And he's pretty old. He's about 16 years old. He's been to a lot of programs. He is a falcon. American kestrels are falcons.
Where is Nature Reach?
Nature Reach is at the Pittsburg State University. So in Heckert Wells there, that's where most of our animals are. And then we have a raptor reserve that's about 15 minutes out of Pittsburg, where we have all the raptors, and there's pigs, and it's really pretty.
And so this state's had him for 16 years, 15 years? Cool bird. I love watching him hover.
They're often on telephone lines.
Yeah?
Would you find these in the trees around here?
Yeah.
Southeast Kansas State?
Oh, yeah.
You can find them in the trees and on power lines. A lot of times, you see how he did that tail pump. If you look on the power lines and you see a bird doing that tail pump, that's pretty much a telltale sign that it's American kestrel. And he does have these little black dots on the back of his head. Since he is a smaller bird of prey, those act as like eyes, like a mimicry of eyes. They don't actually work, but so other animals, some snakes will prey on them. Some owls, like the great horned owl, will actually try to eat them. So those dots on the back of his head helps warn away those predators. And those lines on his eyes help block some of the sun. Kind of, if you've ever seen a cheetah, they have the same thing to help block that sun.
And what do they eat?
They eat a lot of small rodents, reptiles, pretty much any kind of
Insects?
They might eat insects, probably
Yeah.
larger insects. They're going to be a lesser value food, but they might.
But this one eats mostly bird or what, rodents?
Yeah, yes.
This that you're keeping, yeah.
Yeah, so we get frozen rodents and day-old chicks, and we thaw them out and prep them for them each day. Yep.
Well-fed kestrel.
So we got a few more slides left. We've talked a little bit about why native plants matter. Some other reasons are that they are the base of the food chain. So if the plants went away, then the insects would go away, and then the animals that eat the insects, and it just topples the whole triangle. So the plants are very important for the whole food chain. Also, as you can see in this next picture, that they have very long, complex roots. I don't know, it might be harder to see, the little turf grass on the right has very short roots compared to the other plants, which can lead to flooding. I have kind of an example. So These are supposed to be like the native roots. They are very long on my right hand, and these would be more of the non-native roots. So as you can imagine, the native roots will absorb a lot more water, which helps reduce flooding, and it helps filtration as well. So all the chemicals or anything that's in the air that when the rain goes down and it goes into the ground, the roots help filter all that stuff out. Some ways we can help. One of my favorite ways is just learning about your native plants and animals in your area. And once you're able to learn all that, then you can plant gardens. You can put little water dishes in your backyard, little water dishes with rocks, or if you want, you can do it bigger. You can get a bucket and kind of dig out a little area in your yard and put the bucket in, or you can even do a big pond. Just all of it helps out the wildlife. And I love this quote. It is in our animal room, and it says, "In the end, we will conserve only what we love. We will only love what we understand, and we will only understand what we are taught." So the first time I read that, it was very impactful, and I thought it would be important to share with everyone. We have some free seeds. We have the Joe Pye weed and the black-eyed Susan. And then we also have some free identification books if you want to take one. We also have some other stuff up here if you want to come up and look and ask questions. I think we're done here.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was very informative, and I'm sure everyone loves seeing the animals. I'm not so sure about the snake, but you know, it was interesting, very interesting. So we appreciate you girls all coming and bringing this information to us, and they will stay around. Like I say, she said you're welcome to come up and ask other questions, and they'll be able to help you with that. So like I said, we're so excited about the Wildflower Meadow, and what I wanted to say is, because we keep we're having to be so patient on bringing that drag line. You know, we've had weather delays and just one thing after another. They've found damage and they've had to do repair work. So we understand that a wildflower meadow, we are also going to have to develop patience, because we have been told by the experts that the first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, and the third year it leaps. So we're going to be a while before we see that beautiful, it'll be 3 years before it's in full bloom and that. But so patience is a virtue, and we hope we'll all have that virtue. So I'd like to thank those who continue to help us, JT, Canole and his wife Linda, who serves on our board. They do all this sound and the slideshows and everything. We couldn't do it without them. Linda Roberts is also one of our board members who's here today. You've seen her in a red vest. She's helping with serving. Dolores Wishart, she is here. She served as your greeter today. She's one of our great volunteers who comes in and helps us out with everything. We appreciate that. And if you see Christy Perry, she did the baking, so all the treats have been baked by Christy. She also serves on the board. So we couldn't do this without all of our board members and our volunteers who help with that. So we invite you to, those of you who are new and don't hear this all the time, be sure and follow us on Facebook. We'll share a link to the videos, the news stories and everything, and we keep you updated on our Facebook page. That's the best place to get the latest and greatest information about us. And we'd also like to thank David Wallace. He is videotaping this program today, as he does almost all of our programs, but not just as all of Southeast Kansas. So if you will follow him on YouTube, Easy Dave, and he has some wonderful videos of other communities in the area and organizations, and really, they're wonderful. And we appreciate everything you do, Dave, because really no one else is out there doing it, and we know you do it at your own expense, your own time, and it's greatly appreciated. And everyone, last week, you saw the coverage, how many people watched your video last week, the last program. It was wonderful. So we'll look forward to seeing this one, because some people weren't able to come today, and they're excited to know they can go online and see it. And we'll have that link on our Facebook page. So we have some other programs coming up that we think are going to be exciting. Next month we're working with the Southeast Kansas Nature Center, which is around Galena. We don't have a title for it yet, but we're sometime in September is their program. In October we're going to have a program called Beauty and the Bees. And depending on the weather, she's going to bring bees with her. So, but I'm sure they'll be all safely corralled like these animals were. So we're looking forward to that program. And then hopefully in November, which we hope is after the dragline is moved, the Tiltons will be doing a program on the move and talking about all the challenges they faced and what it took to move that equipment. We don't have a date set for that because we're waiting on the dragline to be moved. But we have some great programs coming up. So the news, the media is always really good to cover us. So follow along, whether it's the TV or the newspapers, Hometown Girard, Morning Sun, the Galena newspaper, Columbus, they all cover us well. And then, like I say, our Facebook page will keep you updated on all that. And one more thing is, for those of you who aren't here, we have been donated a 7-foot projection screen, which will be in the future hanging right behind me. So it'll be a little bit better picture than that, what we call a big screen TV. And we've been fundraising for a projector. And last week we made an announcement. We were short just a little bit. Well, not a little bit. We were short. And they finished that goal for us, and we were able, so we are purchasing that projector. So hopefully by the next program, you will have a big 7-foot screen hanging here and with a great photo to see, and it'll be a little, for those of you back in the distance, it'll be a little bit easier to see. So we hope to have that up before the next program. So we just thank you all for coming. Thank these young ladies for this wonderful program. And we have snacks and beverages in the back. You're welcome to help yourself to those. Tour the museum if you haven't seen it yet. We have our special exhibit on the page in the corner, and you're welcome to come up and ask these young ladies anything you'd like about all the things they have here. So thank you all very much for coming, and watch for our next program.